12 ships left Troy, about 600 men. One of them made it home. And he got a 12,000-line poem about how difficult the journey was. For him. You were one of the other 599. 10 years of war, and your hands have gone to leather. You don't get a poem. You get an oar. And here's the part that should genuinely annoy you. That poem opens by explaining it was your own fault. Line 7. It doesn't even warm up first. 12 ships. 50 men to a ship, near enough. Rowers, mostly, like you. You are not a hero. You have no lines. Homer does not give you a name, a personality, or a mother who misses you. Dine, you are, technically, scenery. 6 of you do eventually get named. Dine, you will not enjoy the circumstances. Ithaca is about 600 miles west. With a decent wind, 3 weeks. It takes 10 years. Dine, which is, and I want to be precise here, the worst 3 weeks to 10 years conversion in recorded history. And the fleet doesn't shrink gradually. It shrinks in 5 specific moments. Dine, so I'm going to keep a running total, because nobody else ever has. Forget everything films have told you about ancient ships. There is no below decks. No cabin, no kitchen, no beds. Lose there is a hull, some benches, and you. You also can't sail at night because you have no compass, no charts, and no method of knowing where you are beyond looking at some land and hoping you recognize it. So every evening you stop, you get out, and you drag the entire ship out of the sea and up onto a beach. By hand. 50 of you. Loose, then you sleep on the sand next to it. In the morning, you push it back in. Loose, then you do that roughly 900 more times. You also carry almost no fresh water, because water is heavy and the boat is full of men. So this isn't really a voyage. It's a chain of snack breaks with strangers, and every single one is a gamble on whether the strangers are pleased to see you. Which explains an enormous amount about this story. Every time your captain goes ashore to see what manner of men live here, he is not exploring, he is grocery shopping, badly. And your role in all of this? You row, in time, all day, at a speed somebody else picks, facing backwards, because that is how rowing works. Which means for 10 years, you cannot see where you are going. You can only see where you have been. Exactly one man on that ship gets to face forward. Take a wild guess which one. 9 days out, you stop at a city called Ismarus, and you sack it. So that's the job. Everybody did this. It was, at the time, a normal Tuesday. Odysseus then says the thing every commander in history has said. Take what you can carry, get back on the ships, right now. And you don't. Because there is wine. There are sheep already on the beach, and you have been at war for 10 years. So you have a barbecue. Now, the people you just robbed have neighbors, inland, on horses, and they are not in a barbecue mood. They arrive at dawn. Homer counts it exactly. 6 men from every ship, 12 ships, 72 of you, and this one is yours. Genuinely, completely yours. He said go. You stayed for the wine. Remember that, because it doesn't happen again. You get blown off course and land somewhere warm. 3 men go ashore to find food and simply do not come back. They'd found people who eat a flower. Eat it, and you stop wanting to go home. Not you forget home, not you stop wanting it. Odysseus drags them back to the ship crying and ties them under the benches, which is either a kidnapping or a rescue, depending entirely on who you ask. Milet, nobody dies. Enjoy that. It's the last stop where that's true. Next island, nobody home. Sheep, cheese, and a very large cave. And the entire crew, you, say, grab the cheese and let's go. Odysseus says no. He would like to meet whoever lives here. Milet, he would like to see whether they'll give him a present, a guest gift. That is the actual stated reason. Milet, y'all were taught this one as a thrilling adventure. It is a man refusing to leave a cave because there might be a souvenir in it. The resident comes home. He is the size of a house. He rolls a stone across the door that 20 of you could not shift. Milet. And then he eats 2 of you. Milet. Then 2 more. then 2 more. You do get out. The sharpened steak, the wine, the "my name is nobody" routine, the escape under the sheep, all of that is real, and all of it is his. He is genuinely, spectacularly clever, and it genuinely works. And then, from the ship, safely away, at a very comfortable distance, he shouts his real name back at the shore, because being remembered was worth more to him than the wind. Milet. The giant's dad is Poseidon. Milet. Poseidon is in charge of the sea, which you are, at this exact moment, floating on. A king gives Odysseus a bag. Every wrong wind on earth is tied up inside it. Only the one blowing you home is left out. Just it is, essentially, a bag of weather. 9 days he steers. He does not sleep, not once, which is genuinely impressive. And just on the 10th day, you can see the fires on the beach at Ithaca, close enough to see the smoke coming off your own house. And Odysseus, who has not slept in 9 days, finally does. And you look at the bag. 10 years of war. People have been handing him gold the entire way. You have been handed a blister. Just so what's in the bag? You open it. Every wind on earth gets out at once. Just 9 days to sail there, 1 day to be blown all the way back. And this one is also yours. Not his, yours. Just 2 for 2. The scoreboard is honest so far. You find a harbor. And it is genuinely beautiful. Cliffs on both sides, narrow mouth, flat water inside, no swell at all. 11 captains take their ships in, because that is what a harbor is for. Odysseus moors his own ship outside, on the open coast, in the rough water. No reason given. The people who live here are the size of the Cyclops. There are a great many of them, and the cliffs you are moored beneath are made of rock. They don't come down to fight you. They stand at the top, and they throw. The narrow mouth that made it a good harbor makes it a bucket. Nobody rows out. There is nowhere to row to. Homer's line is that they speared you like fish. 11 ships. Around 470 men, in about the time it has taken to tell you. 90% of everyone still alive, gone in one afternoon. One ship rows out, the one that was moored outside. And here's what I want you to notice. You know the Cyclops. You know the Sirens. You know the whirlpool. Nobody has ever told you about the harbor. And the harbor killed more of you than everything else in this video combined. An island. A woman turns 22 of you into pigs. He gets you turned back. Credit where it's due, that one he fixes. Then he stays. For a year. A full year. On an island. While your families at home slowly conclude you're dead. Nobody asks the rowers how they feel about this. And on the very last morning, one of you, Elpenor, gets drunk, falls off the roof, and dies. On the roof. On the last day. After surviving a 10-year war and a Cyclops. And you sail in such a hurry the next morning that you leave him up there. Unburied. Remember that. Circe tells him he can't go home yet. First, he has to sail to the edge of the world and ask directions from a dead man. Soon you row him there, obviously. He digs a pit, he pours out milk and honey and wine, and the dead come up out of the ground to drink it. Brides, old men, soldiers still in their armor. Soon, and the first one to reach him, before the prophet, before his own mother, is Elpenor, the man who fell off the roof 3 days ago. Soon, and here is what he asks for. He does not ask for revenge. He does not ask why nobody noticed he was missing. He asks to be buried. And he asks that they plant his oar on top of the grave, upright, so that people know somebody was there. That's it. That's the whole request. The only thing he wants is for it to be visible that he existed. And Odysseus goes back and does it. Soon genuinely. Sails back to the island, buries him, plants the oar. Credit where it's due. The one crewman who ever gets to ask him for something gets it. Which is worth sitting with, because it means it was never that he couldn't see you. Soon it's that nobody asked. And while he's down there, he talks to Achilles, the best fighter who ever lived, the one who chose a short, famous life over a long, quiet one. Odysseus tells him he must be delighted. He's a legend down here, a king among the dead. And Achilles tells him he'd rather be alive, a hired hand, on someone else's farm, working someone else's dirt for someone else's bread. Then king of everyone down here. The most famous man in the war, given one chance to say what it was worth, says he'd trade all of it to be nobody and breathing. Which is exactly what every one of you would have said. Nobody wrote yours down. Then the Sirens. And this is the tell, if you ever wanted one. He fills your ears with wax so you can't hear them. Then he has himself tied to the mast so that he can. You row, he listens. He gets the once-in-a-lifetime experience. You get the earplugs. Then the strait. Whirlpool on one side, a six-headed thing living in the cliff on the other. Circe gave him the rules in advance. You cannot beat Scylla. Sail close, lose 6, keep moving. Fight her, and you lose the whole ship. So he knows. Before you enter the strait, he knows 6 of you are going to die, and he has a fair idea where they'll be standing. He doesn't tell you. He says afterwards that he didn't want you to panic and stop rowing, which is true. It is also a decision about which 6 of you get a last minute. 37 of you left, out of 600. And the poem hasn't blamed you for a single one of them yet. Last island. There are cattle on it. They belong to the sun. The rule is simple, and everybody has now heard it twice. Do not touch the cows. And everybody agrees, genuinely. No argument. Easy. Then the wind turns wrong, and holds. For a month. The food runs out. You eat the birds, you eat the fish, then there is nothing at all. And there is a hill, covered in cows. Odysseus goes inland to pray about it, and while he's gone, you eat. You know exactly what you're doing. You do it anyway. Starving men do. 6 days of eating. Then the wind turns fair, and you sail, and Zeus puts a lightning bolt straight through the middle of the ship. All 37. One man holds on to the keel and lives. You already know which one. Line 7 of the Odyssey says the crew died through their own recklessness, because they ate the cattle of the sun. And that's true. That is exactly what happened to 37 of you out of 600. 72 at Ismarus because you stayed for the wine. Yours. 6 in the cave because he wanted to meet a giant. His. 470 in the harbor because 11 captains moored where it was safe, and he moored where it wasn't, and never said why. His. 6 in the strait because he knew and didn't say. Knowingly his. And 37 at the end, starving after a month of wind. Yours. 6%. That's the share of this the poem hangs on you, and it's the share it chose to open with. Which is what happens when the man who makes it home is the only one telling it. Your teacher called it an adventure. It's a survivor's account with a very good lawyer. And here's how it ends for him. He gets to Ithaca and finds 108 men in his house, eating his food and trying to marry his wife. So he kills every single one of them. Then their families, 108 families, pick up weapons and come for him. Which is the one moment in this entire story where somebody is finally going to be asked to account for a body count. And a goddess steps in and makes them forget. That's the actual last thing that happens. Not a reckoning. An erasure. Peace arranged from above by wiping what people knew. Nobody ever comes to ask about you. 600 households in Ithaca waited 10 years for a ship. One ship came back with one man on it, and there is not a single line in the poem where anybody asks him what happened to their son. 600 men rowed him out of Troy. None of them got a name. One of them got a poem. And it's worth asking how you all ended up at Troy for 10 years in the first place. You got in with a horse. But that story has another side, and there were people inside those walls who watched it come through the gate. That's the next one. I'm Tori. Subscribe, and I'll take you into Troy.